Below 255 pounds, it can only fly 63 miles an hour, and it's a single occupant vehicle to be flown in non-congested airspace, but you do not need to be a pilot to fly it. I can train any of you in about 15 minutes to fly this aircraft. It flies for 25 minutes, like I said, 63 miles an hour. It has a payload of up to 250 pounds, and we're selling into the agricultural space. And we are taking reservations now. If you go to RYSEAEROTECH.com, you can sign up if you're interested in buying one. The purchase price, the MSRP, is $150,000 US. And Eric is going to fly it here, so he's just going to walk around. And now what he's going to do is he's going to do all the checklists. It checks for weather, make sure the area is clear, make sure that all the system stats are correct. And when he's ready to go, he's going to enable high voltage. You will hear a noise and see the light range light. There you go, so he's hot. High voltage is enabled. Now we'll check systems again. At this point, he's just looking to be able to make sure it's safe to take off. Simplified vehicle operations. We'll use the stick to go to center. Start taking off. Spin goes to center, and thumbs up. And you can take off the center. stick back, and it takes care of landing automatically.
Alright, we gotta get scared first.
Simplified vehicle operations. Anybody can learn to fly it in 15 minutes. Very simple to operate. Eric's going to come on over, and he can answer any questions. I can answer any questions. Battery life is 25 minutes, and frame life. How loud it was. Somebody wanted to know how loud it was.
I just got to come.
We missed it. We missed it?
It's one of the shows in
I've always wanted to go.
fly with one motor out. We could actually fly with two motors out by overthrusting the other one. But then you obviously have to replace always. So there's a lot of redundant features built in to keep it safe and keep you as an occupant in control, but also give you freedom to move about.
And then what about
You know, the beauty of electric propulsion, as you've probably seen with cars, is that the maintenance is much lower. So as opposed to like a helicopter, you have to do a lot of maintenance. There's not as many moving parts. There's really a spinning motor, and so there's virtually no maintenance. We're tracking everything, so we know what the age, you know, of the motor is. We know how many cycles. We know the battery. We know the battery temperatures. We'll also keep you out of abusing it. If, for example, it's like a super hot day or something like that, the performance level will just decrease to make sure that that battery stays okay. And likewise, if it's super cold, we recommend that the batteries are kept indoors until you're about to just use them. But we've used this at, I don't know if you've seen in the booth, but there's a couple of scenes where I'm in the snow, and it flies wonderfully. It actually is kind of cool because you see the snow swirling around behind you. I mean, I was literally in a blizzard condition, and it worked perfectly. It's just so great. But the temperature will change, you know, affect the battery, so we're monitoring that. Obviously, if it starts getting too cold, when it's working, it's no problem. But if it's sitting there, you know, minus 18 for a long time, then you got to.
How long has this been in development?
Yeah, so we've all come from the tech space. The company's been around just over a year. And but we were planning this project for a while. A couple of the founders had looked at this strategy and saying we wanted to build something for fun. We built things for other people. This time we got to build something that we wanted to have, you know, and enjoy. And now we see that there's a lot of interest. So
do you have aerospace background, or?
I do a little bit. My background was in finance, private equity, and stuff. And a lot of
you need.
Yeah. Gave me the ability to fly. A lot and do a lot of different things. And my background's actually in aerobatic flying, so I'm kind of used to doing what is more kind of high, I guess, somewhat adrenaline-based. But the irony is that I enjoy flying this just as much, and sometimes even more, because I can let go, and I can just sit there and enjoy the environment, you know, and you're right in it, whereas a lot of times you're way up there. So hopefully you can read my face. It's pretty exhilarating. Every time I get out of it, I've done this a lot, I'm just as excited as the first time. So
is the altitude limited?
Well, so it has a service ceiling of about 10,000 feet, but the FAA limits it to 700 feet above ground. But if you were at an 8,000-foot mountain, you could fly 8,700 feet. So there's a lot of performance in it.
So that's for the quality, the temperature, and the.
Well, it fits within what they call the Part 103 rules of an ultralight, and those rules limit you to be in uncontrolled airspace, which is just that airspace under 700 feet. In certain areas, it's 1,200 feet, but for most, most environments, it's 700 feet. There are areas where if you have two-way communication, you can fly higher and stuff like that, but it's not meant to be a vehicle that's going to go fly high up near airplanes. It's meant to be just above the terrain, where you are enjoying the environment on your own private land.
Drones, there are limitations. You can't fly near airports.
Yeah, exactly. We have a special, you know, honestly, I have to thank the FAA. Their dual mandate is to be obviously primarily safety, but also innovation. And they have said that the ultralight is an opportunity for innovation to, you know, kind of flourish. And so they've recognized that there needs to be exceptions, and so they made an exception for us to be here, fly at CES, and show everybody what's capable. The vehicle is meant to be flown in rural environments, out in the countryside, on your own private land. You know, maybe you got a farm or a ranch. Yeah, you can use it for go and find a lost cattle, but you can also use it to find, you know, go get your favorite fishing hole and say, you know, it's amphibious. I don't know if you guys caught that, but there's 6 pylons and then dual floats there. The dual floats actually act as an additional safety feature in that the occupant, if you hit really hard, it's an airbag for the occupant. So, yeah, some kind of cool benefits in that way. You know, we're pretty much following the standard lithium cycle. We're protecting them a little bit, so we're going to be sub-1,000. But it's in that range, and we are also trying some new chemistry. It's giving us an opportunity for a little bit more extended time. Right now, we're about 20 miles of distance, or about 25 minutes. but realistically, we're going to see how this all comes together, and obviously,
Is that right?
we know we can meet that bar for production, but we may end up being able to take advantage of some new chemistries that will give us maybe another 10%.
Are some of these sold already?
We do. Well, we're not describing or kind of disclosing all the things. We just opened up our reservation system, and we have some customers that are going to be testing to give us feedback, and then that will be the production, or any changes from that will be the production run.
Where are you guys based?
In Mason, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. But we are looking at late fall of next year to actually have deliveries from the regular production, where we'll have a few in the field starting definitely by summer.
So you have a facility to build these things?
Yeah. We're taking advantage of. I'm sorry.
Sorry, how many kilowatt hours is holding right now that you have?
So this is about 7 kilowatts.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just over 1 on each pod. So that brick, I call it a brick, but that kind of frame that the batteries are in is just over a kilowatt.
And charger, you use 50 amps use or something like that?
Yeah, so we're doing a fast charge, and it's about 2 hours to charge all 6. If you go to 110 or home voltage, it's about 5 hours. And then we have a charging station that has a solar panel. You can size it differently.
Portable? The charging station is portable?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we can set it up at different spaces in the tops and whatnot. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
And you bring up something kind of important, and that is that since they're hot swappable, you can pull them out, get a fresh set. You can have charging stations in different areas. So if you have a solar setup, which takes about 6 hours of sunlight, you can size it better, but cost-effective wise, it's about 6 hours. You can then have them in different locations, and it knows where, just like a supercharger in a Tesla, it knows where it is, and it'll draw you a line. You fly over to it, it'll tell you that you have enough time to get there. Now you land, swap out a new set, and you're flying for another 20 miles. Most people don't have 5 mile length farms, but you never know. You don't need a pilot license for the ultralight category. We will provide training to ensure that you know how to operate the vehicle in a safe manner, in addition to know the rules of where you can fly legally. And so we're looking at other countries. I know we were talking earlier that if there's a chance to look at the regulatory framework within that specific country and understand what their requirements are. But the advantage we have here in the United States is the ultralight. You don't need a pilot license. So it's one of those last few freedoms that we can really embrace and take a hold of. It's kind of fun.
So like say you have a farm area, it's near a non-towered airport. So the thing is, and let's say some of that area is here. Obviously, I can't go in certain areas because it's even below 500. It's still going to be within the range. I'm just wondering what sort of communications.
You can communicate with them ahead of time, so you can call the local tower. And most towers, especially non-towered fields, but so the non-tower field will have a manager. You call them ahead of time, and you'll say, "Hey, I'd like to fly through." They always provide an ultralight access. They may end up saying, "We need you on the south apron to stay away from the general aviation." They'll give you instructions, but it's just more or less prior communication.
Right, and we just monitor the channel.
Yeah.
Do you have a radio on board?
We don't have a radio specifically for the Part 103, but there are, you can obviously add something if you want to be in communication with ATC. And we do encourage really an ultralight operator to start understanding what the rules are and to know how to communicate. ATC communication is fairly simple, but you got to know how to do it. And it's a great network of how to kind of deconflict traffic, which is what it's all about. But the ultralight is not meant to be flying very high. It's down low, just above the terrain, and so there's some advantages there.
Do you think most people will fly like the altitudes you're talking about?
Yeah, I think most people are going to stay at between 10 and 50 feet. You can go much higher. And we've been pretty high, and you just feel like you're a little tiny dot way up in the sky. It's interesting, but it's more fun to fly down low around the terrain, and kind of you can take a flight with flags. It's kind of exciting. Imagine that as trees or terrain and stuff like that. Obviously, You are the collision avoidance system. So your eyes, you're detect and avoid. And
It does not have a collision avoidance system. Like
it has an audible alert that tells you, just like your car does, that says, hey, I'm getting close to a curb or something like that. So it starts beeping faster.
like a power line or something like that, but you may not see.
There are certain things that it doesn't have the full fidelity of, and so we're not, providing any guarantees around that.
So what sensors are you using? Are you using like a LiDAR, or are you just using a sonic?
We're using a variety, so we infuse. We also have sensors like ground proximity with lasers, and it's amazing how the sensor conversation has gotten cost-effective and broad, but also the synthesizing of all of this creates kind of a neat picture. Just like you use hearing and you use eyesight, all these are getting kind of fused together to give the operator information. But we're leveraging that information as a warning, not as taking over the control. You are required by the FAA to maintain it. So there's no autonomous functionality in the vehicle, other than auto takeoff. The auto takeoff sets you at about 4 to 5 feet, gives you a takeoff success, and then you have an auto land when you're ready to land. You can manually land it too, so and manually take off.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited you guys came by, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.